4 years, 50 Cent has been throwing shots and keeping pressure on Jay. But now the energy shifted because Jay-Z finally responded, breaking his silence with one clip that set the timeline buzzing. And once that video hit, everything changed. Let's talk about the Super Bowl situation that almost didn't happen. There's been something quietly brewing in the hip-hop world for a long time now, and most people completely missed it. This isn't just rap drama or social media noise. This is about power. 2. Heavyweight figures moving chess pieces behind the scenes, way beyond music, way beyond charts, and straight into boardroom decisions. This situation isn't about who had the better verse or who sold more records. It's about influence. It's about who controls access, who gets invited, and who gets locked out without ever knowing why. That's the real battleground here. What made this whole thing extra tense is that this isn't some ancient beef from the late 90s that should have stayed buried. This is recent, fresh moves. According to 50 Cent, something major happened behind closed doors that changed the game. He claims Jay-Z used his power to try to block him from one of the biggest stages in the country, the Super Bowl halftime show. That's a serious accusation, and it caught a lot of people off guard. This all points back to February 13, 2022, Super Bowl 56 at SoFi Stadium in Englewood, California. The halftime show was being promoted as a huge moment for the culture. Hip-hop finally front and center, legends sharing the stage. Then out of nowhere, 50 Cent appeared upside down, recreating that iconic moment from his past, instantly grabbing attention. And that surprise entrance is where this controversy really started to crack open. That surprise moment had the whole internet spinning. Memes everywhere, throwback energy heavy. But according to 50 himself, that iconic appearance almost never happened. And the name he points to as the reason, Jay-Z. Now, this is where the power dynamics really come into focus. Since 2019, Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, has been partnered with the NFL to oversee the Super Bowl halftime show. That deal gives him serious influence over who gets selected, how the show is shaped, and the overall creative direction. That's not small power at all. This is the same stage that can change an artist's legacy overnight. And according to 50 Cent, Jay used that influence to try and keep him off the lineup. Z told Dr. Dre, just for people who's not up on it, or Eminem, that he didn't want you to perform part of that Super Bowl they had a couple years ago. That's the accusation, plain and simple. In December 2024, 50 went on Cameron's show and laid everything out. He said Jay went directly to Dr. Dre and told him he didn't want 50 anywhere near that performance. No excuses, no soft language, just a hard no. But here's where the loyalty part hits different. 50 wasn't talking about scheduling issues or creative disagreements. He was accusing Jay of using a corporate role to block another artist on purpose. Why do you think that is? Well, I just threatened. Yeah, possibly. Not even threat. I think it's just when you take the competition from like our culture is competitive, man. It is. But I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. And that's when the bigger picture starts to show itself. According to 50, Eminem stepped in and gave the NFL an ultimatum, saying he wouldn't perform unless 50 was included. That's real loyalty. Now, think about what that really means for a second. One of the most hyped Super Bowl halftime shows ever almost lost Eminem, a certified legend. One of the main reasons people tuned in. And all of that allegedly because Jay-Z didn't want 50 on that stage. That's not small beef anymore. That's the kind of executive-level move that could have cost networks millions and embarrassed the whole league on the biggest night of the year. 50 Cent has been trying to break down the motive behind it. In a July 2024 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he didn't dance around it at all. He said they wanted to leave me out of it. It was them fighting for me to stay out of it. It should be in the NFL paperwork now. Eminem is not performing without 50. That wasn't speculation. That was direct. Then in October 2024, when he pulled up on The Breakfast Club, 50 doubled down. He said Jay blocked him and that early on they tried to blame the NFL to dodge the smoke, but 50 said he peeped the play quick. Industry insiders told him exactly where the resistance was coming from. And according to 50, the reason goes deeper than music. He believes his success in TV, especially his Power universe on Stars, turned him into real competition in the entertainment business. And that's where this whole thing really gets messy. This stopped being about hot 16ths or first week numbers a long time ago. This is empire talk, market share, control, who gets to shape the future business of hip-hop, and who gets pushed out quietly. And that's where 50 Cent says things got real clear. He claims the NFL took the public heat at first, but behind the scenes, the call came from Roc Nation. That shield was up early. From the 50's perspective, the setup was clean. Plausible deniability in place. Corporate distance maintained, but he says he wasn't confused for a second. He felt he knew exactly who was making the decisions and why. And what made the situation even louder was the silence that followed. Goes past the music itself to blocking things in business. Then I don't understand that. Like right now you're not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5 and you still competing. It just don't make sense. Like what are we competing for them? Tell me. Jay-Z has never publicly addressed these claims. Not once. For some fans that silence looks like class, a refusal to play into drama. For others, it feels like confirmation, like the accusations might be hitting closer to home than anyone wants to admit. Either way, the lack of response kept the conversation alive. By September 2024, the talk spread even wider. Cameron and Ma openly speculated that Jay-Z may have blocked Lil Wayne from performing at the 2025 Super Bowl, pointing to old tension. For a lot of people, a pattern started to form, one where corporate power and old grudges cross paths. Social media split right down the middle. Some fans backed 50, calling Jay-Z petty or a gatekeeper abusing power. Others defended Jay, reminding everyone of 50's long history of provoking conflict. The truth probably lives somewhere in between. What's undeniable is this. No official statement from the NFL, Roc Nation, or Jay-Z has confirmed or denied anything. And that silence keeps the story running. But to really understand why this tension runs so deep, why Jay-Z would allegedly push so hard to keep 50 Cent off the Super Bowl stage, you have to rewind all the way back to the beginning. Every legendary hip-hop rivalry has an origin story. And this one goes back to before the money, before the TV empires, before the boardrooms. Back in 1999, Curtis Jackson wasn't a global brand yet. He was a hungry rapper from Queens with a shaky deal, stacks of unreleased music, and about 40 recorded songs that weren't moving the needle. No buzz, no spotlight, no guarantees. And instead of waiting for permission, 50 made a bold move that would define his entire career. He took inspiration from the notorious B.I. and his 1993 track, Just Playing Dreams, where Biggie imagined scenarios involving R&B stars. 50 flipped that idea into something darker and louder. Not romance, but robbery. The result was How to Rob. On that track, 50 imagined robbing nearly every major rapper and singer in the industry. Nobody was safe. And yes, Jay-Z was on the list. One of the lines went, "Jigga just sold like 4 mil. He got something to live for. Don't want to put 4 through that Bentley coupe door." It was bold, reckless, and impossible to ignore. That record spread fast. White label vinyls hit DJs like Funkmaster Flex at Hot 97, getting hundreds of spins a week and flooding mixtapes across major cities. Overnight, everyone was talking about the fearless kid from Queens calling out over 40 artists by name. Most rappers laughed it off. Some ignored it, but Jay-Z didn't. He responded, and that response quietly set the tone for a rivalry that's been simmering for more than 2 decades. At Hot 97 Summer Jam in 1999, Jay-Z stepped up and dropped a freestyle that instantly became legend. In it, he dismissed his rival with a slick money metaphor, framing himself as real currency while reducing 50 Cent to pocket change, a line that perfectly summed up Jay's cold, calculated style. That same jab later showed up on its Hot, Some Like It Hot from Volume 3, Life and Times of S. Carter, released in December 1999 and produced by Timbaland. Jay doubled down, bragging about his dominance and making it clear he saw himself on a completely different level in the game. 50 didn't let that slide at all. In 2000, he fired back with Be a Gentleman, a direct response, where he questioned Jay's image and street credibility, calling him out for playing a role instead of living it. He mocked the idea that charts and fame automatically equal respect, making it clear he wasn't intimidated. The back and forth could have gone even further, but real life hit hard. On May 24, 250 Cent was shot 9 times outside his grandmother's house in Queens. He survived against the odds, but the fallout was heavy. Columbia Records dropped him and his debut album, Power of the Dollar, was shelved. That moment paused the rivalry. While 50 spent the next 2 years healing, rebuilding, and flooding the streets with mixtapes, Jay-Z kept his run strong, especially with The Blueprint in 2001. The tension stayed quiet, but it never disappeared. Then everything shifted in 2002. 50 came back louder than ever, signing with Eminem and Dr. Dre under shady aftermath. When Get Rich or Die Trying dropped in February 2003 and sold 872,000 copies his first week, the balance of power changed overnight. Before long, the takeover was undeniable. Tracks like In Da Club and 21 Questions went diamond-level big, running non-stop on radio across America. At that point, nobody was questioning if 50 Cent was legit. The real question became whether anyone could slow him down, and Jay-Z clearly saw it coming. In a 2013 interview on The Breakfast Club, Jay-Z admitted he warned his own Rockefeller Records artists ahead of time. He said, "I'm telling you, y'all got a chance right now. Just flooded, put out a lot of music because 50 Cent is coming." That wasn't hate, that was fear mixed with respect. What followed in 2003 was an awkward truce. The two appeared together in a Reebok commercial, co-headlined the Rock the Mic tour, and even crossed paths creatively. Jay rapped over 50's beats, while 50's Gunnet sneakers reportedly outsold Jay's S. Carter line by a wide margin, according to 50 himself. But beneath the surface, the tension never really went away. 50 constantly framed himself as the bigger global force, pointing to numbers that told a very loud story. And he didn't stop there. 50 has been blunt about what he sees as Jay-Z's biggest flaw. He claims Jay avoids direct confrontation, preferring to put others out front instead of handling issues himself. That critique even spilled into image. 50 once called Jay-Z the coolest punk in hip-hop, a sharp contradiction meant to suggest that Polish and corporate calm don't always earn street respect. The message from 50 has always been clear. He sees Jay-Z as someone who plays chess, not checkers, avoiding direct clashes and using corporate structures as protection while others handle the mess. Whether that's smart strategy or a flaw depends on who you ask. But that difference in style is at the heart of their rivalry. And that rivalry didn't stop at music. In 2004, 50 Cent made a move that changed how artists viewed business forever. He partnered with Glassell, choosing equity instead of a simple endorsement check. When Coca-Cola bought the brand in 2007 for $4.1 billion, 50 reportedly walked away with an estimated $60 to $100 million after taxes. That move became legend. That same year, Jay-Z sold the rights to Rocawear to Iconics Brand Group for $24 million in cash. Both deals were huge wins, but 50 never stopped framing his vitamin water payday as the smarter, bigger play. The business shade kept going as both men built empires competing for the same cultural space. Then came 2007 when Kanye West dropped Graduation on the same day 50 released Curtis. It became the most talked about sales battle in hip-hop history. Kanye won decisively, and 50 accused Jay of pulling strings behind the scenes using his role at Def Jam Recordings to give Kanye every advantage. That accusation fit perfectly into the 50's long-running narrative of Jay as a power player who never gets his hands dirty. But in recent years, the 50s has taken things even further, pushing into personal territory with a new angle that shook fans hard. If the Super Bowl claims raised eyebrows, what he said about Jay-Z's Grammy Award success has sparked an entirely new wave of controversy. 50 has taken things even further by pushing a theory that really set people off. He's claimed that Jay-Z holding 25 Grammy wins, the most of any rapper, is more connected to his marriage to Beyoncé than to his music alone. That accusation hit loud, and it definitely stirred debate. Now, to be fair and accurate, Jay-Z already had 4 Grammy wins before his first collaboration with Beyoncé. Not one, as 50 has sometimes suggested. But where 50's argument gains traction is in the timing. Out of Jay-Z's 25 total Grammy wins, 21 came after 2004, right when his partnership with Beyoncé, joint projects, and polished mogul image fully took shape. That timeline is real, and it's what 50 keeps pointing to. 50 ties this into what he sees as Jay-Z's carefully planned image shift. In his view, the Grammys reward perception and presentation just as much as the music itself. He's been vocal about this for years, often bringing up Tupac Shakur, who never won a Grammy despite his massive cultural impact. To 50, that's proof the system favors safe, marketable figures over raw voices. 50 himself has 3 Grammys, which might explain some skepticism, but he frames his criticism as bigger than personal feelings. He positions himself as someone calling out an industry that prioritizes relationships and branding over authenticity. And he didn't stop there. One of his most provocative angles has been linking Jay-Z's image to Jean-Michel Basio, suggesting Jay modeled his whole look and mystique after him. Random or not, it shows 50's willingness to attack from every direction. He's mocked Jay's appearance, questioned his authenticity, and even labeled 444 golf course music, implying it drifted far from the streets that made Hov famous. And yes, the memes followed right behind. The irony in all of this isn't lost on hip-hop watchers. You've got 2 men who came from absolutely nothing. Jay-Z rising out of the Marcy Projects in Brooklyn and 50 Cent coming up from the streets of Queens. Both built billion-dollar empires from raw ambition. On paper, there should be mutual respect. Instead, they've spent nearly 25 years locked in a Cold War that evolved from rap bars to boardrooms to social media jabs. What's interesting is that 50 has been pretty consistent about how he frames it. He said more than once that he doesn't actually hate Jay on a personal level. When they cross paths in real life, it's cordial. But the issue, according to 50, is philosophy. He doesn't respect what he sees as Jay-Z's way of moving, using corporate power to settle personal issues while staying out of the line of fire. To 50, hiding behind business structures and polished branding isn't strength, it's avoidance. He believes Jay's clean image acts like armor, protecting him from consequences while others take the heat. That's where the divide really lives. 50 built his whole persona on being the opposite. He wants conflict out in the open. He wants pressure up front. He wants anyone stepping to him to know exactly what comes next. Where Jay is calculated, 50 is confrontational. Where Jay stays private, 50 goes public. Where Jay is diplomatic, 50 is aggressive. And that contrast is exactly why this rivalry refuses to die. As long as 50 has an Instagram account and Jay-Z has a corporate empire, the shots will keep coming. Some subtle, some loud, but all feeding hip-hop's long-strung Cold War. What makes this moment hit harder is how everything lines up at once. The Super Bowl allegations questioning gatekeeping, the Grammy theory challenging industry credibility, the image critiques, and 2 self-made legends now divided less by beef and more by belief. 50C moves through the world chest out, fearless, posting straight through controversies that would send most celebrities hiding behind PR teams. Jay-Z, on the other hand, moves in silence, letting lawyers, contracts, and corporate walls handle the pressure while he rarely responds publicly. Two mindsets, two playbooks, same level of power. They represent completely different approaches to control. The gladiator versus the emperor, the street corner versus the boardroom, the comment section versus the contract clause. And that contrast is what keeps this rivalry alive. What's wild is that after all the diss tracks, the sales wars, the business competition, the social media trolling, and the Super Bowl accusations, neither man has actually taken the other out. They're both still standing, still winning, still operating at the highest level. Both built empires their younger selves probably couldn't even imagine. And whether they'd ever admit it or not, they've pushed each other to evolve. Sharper, smarter, hungrier. That's what happens when a rivalry lasts over 2 decades. At some point, it stops being about hate and starts being about definition. Each man exists partly in opposition to the other. Their legacies are linked forever in the story of hip-hop's corporate era. You don't get one without the other. So, the next time you see 50 post another meme about Jay or hear another claim about blocked opportunities and power plays, remember this isn't just beef. You're watching two kings fighting for the same throne using weapons that didn't even exist when they first picked up a mic. And trust me, this story is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts.